Hello everyone, this is Cosmic Kitsuname, and this is probably going to be a very lengthy video, but it needs to be made. Over the course of history, especially in regards to my life, I've seen some really messed up things, and even a couple of good things that were born out of those messed up things. And yet, I still find myself pleasantly surprised. Not shocked, but rather amused at how a lot of the bad stuff that's going on is so new to people. It really isn't new to me. And for those who are still in that shock, my advice is just get used to it, because it's not going anywhere. Things didn't get bad overnight. They're not going to change overnight. There are a lot of times where there are people, they want to play politician or try to be the ambassador of something, and it doesn't really matter. This is why I don't engage in these little internet debates, because at the end of the day, it's not about changing someone's mind. It's about reaching a middle ground or understanding where that person is coming from. It's about having a civil conversation. There have been many times when I was younger where I've wasted so much time talking to people who had no invested interest on hearing what I had to say. And that's on me. You can't really change somebody's mind when they have such a fixed opinion on everything. And even when you present them with something different, they have to accept it. So the truth becomes meaningless when the average person isn't willing to even look at it, let alone accept the possibility that they could be kind of off. When I was growing up, family was very important. It was very common to live in the house with a big family. You know, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, sometimes even cousins. Nobody really thought about it, but it became this weird rite of passage to move out, which is something that I don't understand, nor do I want to. Because if a person was not doing that when they were in the home, 9 times out of 10 they're not going to do that outside the home. Same thing with manners. And you would think that since they're now in a position to be forced to show that they would, but even with that, half the time they don't. And that's on them. I don't feel bad for the friends I grew up with, because despite whatever bad life they had the opportunity to change it. I remember I had one friend who was so terrible to his stepmom and to his younger brother that eventually everyone just stopped caring. Why? Because every time someone tried to talk to him, he always came out being condescending and patronizing. He had this assumed knowledge based on some silly stuff he read. The guy had no life experience, but he was always talking about life. Trying to give back in the day speeches, even at 20. And this is why nobody wanted to help him. The dude pissed away every opportunity he ever had. Later, he burst into tears when his brother had to explain to him, dude, you are going nowhere. You're taking one class and these bills need to get paid. And he just couldn't accept that. This man wasted about 30 years of his life and didn't want to listen to anybody. In fact, he'd take out a phone and ignore you when you're trying to tell him something. Very disrespectful, piss poor attitude, and was extremely entitled. This would fit the trait or category of many of my friends I grew up with. They were not really known for their outstanding behavior, being straight up. They were known for many different cowardly acts. And even if you don't become that way, when you hang around people like that, it's very draining. It becomes even worse when you become an adult and you have to deal with people that have no drive in much of anything. This is why I always say, value your time even when you're wasting it. If I'm not getting something out of a situation, be it sentimental or whatever, I up and leave. Everyone has their own interpretation of what's respectful and what isn't, but it's pretty universal. The host, or wherever you go, they set the stage and you just go with it. You roll with it. You are not always going to be in a good position, but if you walk up to something or someone and you're trying to enlighten others, then it becomes a problem when you yourself don't believe in the very thing you're talking about. To be open-minded doesn't mean that you're going to agree with the other person. It means that you bothered to listen when you didn't have to. And this clip I want to show you is something that when I was younger pissed me off. Now I look at it and I just go, meh, it's the culture. You can't undo generations of damage. Even if you had such an ability, it would take more time than even necessary, because people have to do their part. It is inconceivable to me, even now, how someone can think that having a family is the worst thing in the world. It is if that family is just bad or started under a bad premise. And things happen. Families split up and some people are just doing their own thing and they don't want the drama. All of that is understandable. Everybody's life situation is different. But now we live in a culture, a society that shames the very idea of family values. Oh, look at that person. They like their mom. They like their dad. That's so weird. I like you more if you were normal. Got a lot to learn about people, world, and life and stuff like that. A person shouldn't be shamed for not wanting to start a family when they have valid reasons. But if a person heavily desires that, then that's on them. As long as you're not dealing with any type of hardcore negativity from it, and you know the risks and what you're doing, you have to be comfortable with your own decisions. Because no one else has to live with that but you. And so with this clip I'm about to show, I would have responded the exact same way. Oh, you don't live with your parents? How does that work? Because that was somewhat of an undertone diss. Especially in the current culture we live in. Where people think that the act of moving out makes a person an adult. You can give a person all the authority in the world, but when they have no accountability, it doesn't matter. This is why people need to be accountable. They change their mind, but still. I have had moments in my own life where people have attempted to shame me for being close to my parents as if it's something I should be ashamed of. It's not. If you got it like that, great. If you don't, okay. Person shouldn't be getting bashed one way or the other. People live how they live. Here's the clip.
Both of you are living with your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How does that work?
You live with your family?
No.
How does that work?
With that being shown, one of the reasons people start families is because they know that by the time they get old, they are not going to be able to defend themselves in the same way they normally would have been able to. For animals, the same damn way. You know, they get old, they rely on the pack to protect it to a degree, depending on the animal. But even with that, you shouldn't lose your sense of reason behind that. And if you can't do what you want to do where you're at, then there are other places out there. The world's a big place. In fact, there are tons of people who just up and said, you know what, I'm not living the way I want to live or getting what I'm getting, so I'll find that elsewhere. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. No matter where you go or what you do, you take your mentality with you. So there's no escaping that. You can't always worry about what other people are doing or how they live. But by the same token, you should always stay informed. Which is what brings me to the whole work-life thing. You know, it's not what it used to be in the past, to where a person could just work in a job, have a stay-at-home wife or something, take care of the kids. It's not like that anymore. And there's some people that will try to acquire that, but it's never going to be in the same way they used to be. Time does move forward. Things progress. And you have to be adaptable, no matter what good or bad thing is happening. You can analyze something, you can sit and talk about as much as possible, but you still have to make good choices in life. I've known guys that, despite the fact they know all the ins and outs to a situation, and they decided, okay, I don't want to be part of this, they'll still actively do everything to destroy themselves. When I was in my 20s, I went to places, had fun, drank, did all that stuff that a normal 20-something-year-old would do. Do I enjoy a good drink every now and then? Sure. But I don't indulge in that way. The thing with it is, you can't have discipline and be hedonistic. It just doesn't work. Having an interest or a passion is one thing, but it's another when you neglect all other responsibilities. It's like The Sims. The Sims was a really funny game because they had these meters for everything, and if one meter suffered a lot, the other ones would also suffer or have to make up for what that meter isn't fulfilling. Fulfillment is something you do for yourself. And when it comes to jobs, it really sucks because there used to be a time where education was prioritized, but it really isn't. Look at me culture is now heavily prioritized. It's much easier to be a influencer than it is to be anything else. And this is what I mean by this. One time I was listening to this guy, and first he said he was a life coach, then he was a broker one day, a car salesman another, and then a producer And then something having to do with carpets or laying carpets or something. And the last thing was, oh yeah, moving company. This guy couldn't tell you what he does. And such people always have a series of titles to attach themselves to, but the one and only title is influencer. And that's really it. It is important to get everyone else to believe in something that they may not even believe in. And if you take away that, then they don't really have much to truly go on. They complain that people don't let them talk or give them a place to talk. And then when they're given that 10 minutes, they do absolutely nothing with it. This is why I have friends that stay where they're at. This is why you have people that are apathetic. People complain we live in an apathetic generation. Can you blame them? There are some people that have to raise themselves, either physically or emotionally. There wasn't a time to where that could be easily negated, depending on the situation. Hell, there were even terms for it, such as latchkey kid. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. Go ask somebody. Go ask Gen X. I'm sure they can tell you all about it. This clip I'm about to show you shows that level of difficulty coming around to that, because there are a lot of people that just believe, oh, they have to hire me, I'm just this really great person. Or look at my portfolio. Look at how awesome my portfolio looks. I one time asked someone, could they do a job for me? Or could they make something similar to what I was looking at? And they immediately responded before I could even finish. I cannot or will not reproduce. That's not what I was saying. And I immediately just skipped that person and went on to the next one. And he just kept screaming, look at my portfolio. So what? When you have no testimonies, that doesn't really prove much of anything. Especially if that person is your first or second customer, or even your 10th customer. You're only as good as your last job, as one of my friends would say. Regardless, though, if you stay in the same place, you have to be content with that and acknowledge the choices that you're making. When you don't hone your skill or practice your craft, you will be in trouble. Either live your life or your life will live you. And in this clip, what I didn't like was the fact that they were shaming the character for even wanting to have that job, which is just as bad, and trying to be defeatist about it. The requirements for that same job has changed and may in fact not even be worth it. But if that's something they really want to do, then why stop them from doing it? Every time he would come up with a different idea, they kept just shooting it down, shooting it down. And it's that type of mentality that does cause problems. There are a lot of people that take every ounce of information that they get and they either use it as a fear tactic or scare easily. So now, because they do something, they want everybody else to follow suit. And realistically, most people won't. But before I continue on, here's the clip.
I hate to burst your bubble, kid, but the kind of job your dad has just doesn't exist anymore.
Why not?
Well, there's no simple answer to that.
All right, see you later.
Bart, come with me to a magical place far in the past. America in the 20th century.
Sure, but you better not start singing.
1945, we won the war. Our boys came back to the factory floor. The good times rolled and smiles were on our faces.
with plentiful jobs for folks of all ages.
Even dumb slobs made excellent wages. The country was booming,
though still pretty racist.
Oh, and so it came to pass, with hard work and grit and grass, bit by bit we built our middle class. I need cash for food and gas, black light posters, beer and grass. Time for me to join the middle class. Oh, join the middle class. Oh, join the middle class. Well, I'm not smart, I'm not a go-getter. My drinking problem's not getting better. What job could I possibly do? Nuclear safety inspector. Woohoo! Your dad and his buddies had it swell, but gradually it all went to hell. Factories closed, unemployment would spike. Here to explain it is Robert B. Reich.
The decline of unions, rampant corporate greed, Wall Street malfeasance, and the rise of short-sighted politics all contributed to increased economic inequality, widespread real unemployment, wage stagnation, and a lower standard of living for millions of Americans.
They chopped salaries to raise stock prices,
Cut up the pie and kept all the slices.
tax breaks went to CEOs, never trickling down to average Joes. And so it came to pass,
Greedy rich men kicked our ass.
fiddling while they burned our middle class.
All right, thanks for the history lesson, nerds. But what does any of this have to do with me? You see, my dad's still working, and I want to be just like him.
I'm sure you do, but there's something else you need to learn. And my friend here is happy to teach you.
Oh, you. For days you've been dying to say something. Just spill it.
You want a job like that? Too bad, so sad. You'll never have the life our flabby dad had. What can he do that a robot can't?
These Oreos taste like nuclear plants.
Yo, all I need is a foot in the door, and I'll take Dad's job when he does at 44.
That job you see now needs a PhD, while paying student loans leaves you in poverty.
What?
No brand new car,
No.
no fancy house, no hot dinners cooked by your stay-at-home spouse.
Yeah.
You're gonna pinch every dollar and cent, and you'll still have to choose between healthcare and rent.
I'll probably just buy a PlayStation 6.
You're naive, but it'll pass. They'll repo your skateboard, you'll grow up fast. He's Jeff Bezos, we're just bozos. Goodbye, middle class. These are facts, they're not controversial. We can't even afford what they sell in this commercial.
Okay, so you're saying maybe I'll have a tough time getting a job like my dad's.
No, I'm saying you'll definitely never get a job like your dad's, and you'll have a tough time finding something significantly worse.
With that being shown, I don't really care for politics much, and I could care less where somebody leans. Just be a decent person. That's all. It doesn't matter who has what, or who sits in what office or whatever. You still have to live your life. If you have no power to change something, it's rather meaningless to argue over arbitrary things such as how long have humans been around, or is the earth flat or whatever, and how long has the earth been around. Just silly, nonsensical things. There are people that dive into some type of abyss of sarcasm at the end of every sentence when it's neither needed nor necessary. And this is why I don't engage in such petty things. There's no point. At least if someone's going to have the conversation, have it on an honest ground instead of a dishonest one. And this is why I dislike cancel culture, or really debate culture, because it's so unnecessary for people to play devil's advocate over things that don't matter. It's like arguing against someone who likes pizza or something. I'll give you a small example of this. Hey, Cosmic, what's your favorite type of food? And I say, okay, pizza. Oh, you only like pizza because you grew up eating it. That may be so, but I would argue that I'd still like pizza if I didn't. Oh, really? What gives you the authority of liking pizza or how good it is? Well, I gave myself the authority. Oh, so now you think you're better than the people that don't like pizza. No. I just like pizza, that's it. But obviously if I ate that every day, I'd have some problems now, wouldn't I? Oh, so now you're not accepting of the people that eat pizza every day. No, I accept the fact that that's what they want to do. But I'm not going to accept the fact that that's a good thing. Because it's not. People will bring up irrelevant things. Such as, oh, well, how old are you? Where do you live now? Where did you grow up? Oh, you don't fit my qualifications to talk about this topic. As if you have to have some type of personal affliction with something to have an opinion on it. You really don't. It might make the argument a little stronger, but you really don't.
So you go to an office, then you go on TV and talk about cigarettes. Then you fly out to LA to talk to some guy who works with movie stars. What is that?
It's my job. I'm a lobbyist.
I know, but did you study to do that?
No, I just kind of figured it out.
Then can't anyone just do that?
No, it requires a moral flexibility that goes beyond most people.
Do I have flexible morals?
Well, let's say you became a lawyer, right? And you were asked to defend a murderer. Worse than that, a child murderer. Now, the law states that every person deserves a fair trial. Would you defend him?
I don't know. I guess every person deserves a fair defense.
Yeah, well, so do multinational corporations.
So, what happens when you're wrong?
Oh, Joey, I'm never wrong.
But you can't always be right.
Well, if it's your job to be right, then you're never wrong.
But what if you are wrong?
Okay, let's say that you're defending chocolate, and I'm defending vanilla. Now, if I were to say to you, vanilla is the best flavor ice cream, you'd say...
No, chocolate is.
Exactly. But you can't win that argument. So, I'll ask you. So you think chocolate is the end-all and be-all of ice cream, do you?
It's the best ice cream. I wouldn't order any of it.
Oh, so it's all chocolate for you, is it?
Yes, chocolate is all I need.
Well, I need more than chocolate. And for that matter, I need more than vanilla. I believe that we need freedom and choice when it comes to our ice cream, and that, Joy Naylor, that is the definition of liberty.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Ah, but that's what I'm talking about.
But you didn't prove that vanilla is the best.
I didn't have to. I proved that you're wrong, and if you're wrong, I'm right.
But you still didn't convince me.
It's that I'm not after you. I'm after them.
And a lot of these people that call themselves life coaches and influencers and stuff like that, I want the people who like them so much to consider something. I'm not attacking nobody's philosophy or how they choose to live, but just consider this for about a moment. If they have it down and they have all the answers and they don't need anything, okay, then why give them anything? Why do they need you to think, act, or feel a certain way? It's one thing to have a message, it's another to become so consumed by it. You can be passionate about it, hell, maybe a little obsessed, but when you're consumed by it, that's a problem. Everyone needs to take a moment to at least breathe, but when you're not giving yourself that, your friends, family, audience that, yeah, that is a problem. And this is where it comes into personal life. For me, the only time I've ever apologized or ever will apologize for anything is if I see something wrong or if I'm convinced, okay, yeah, that's wrong. But you can't shame someone into apologizing. If they don't feel bad about it, they don't feel bad about it. And it's so interesting to me that I've had people both the same age and younger than me attempt to give me a back in the day speech. Oh, I want to take you back 50 years. You can't. You can't go back 50 years. I can't go back 50 years. So why are we having the conversation? I mean, Doc, you don't have the DeLorean. This is not a time machine. I mean, they want to come flying out there going, Marty, I found all the answers to so-and-so. Okay, that's great. You can keep them. Because it's not helping me. It's this self-important crap that people be going on. And teach his own. Just don't get mad when other people aren't trying to drink from that. It's your faucet. Keep it. Even when things don't go as planned or communications fail, I always try to respectfully just say thank people for their time and just move on. You should always try to strive to not have as much bad blood as possible, but if it's there, it's there. Let it happen organically, not artificially. And that's the way I live my life. That's the way I've always lived my life. It is the way I will continue to live my life until I am no more. So not much has really changed from that. This final clip shows how I feel about the whole damn thing. Live your life the way you choose to. Don't let anyone change you to fit what they deem is acceptable. And provided you're not doing anything that's, obscene or illegal or whatever, don't even worry about it. Don't even trip. There are people that want to change laws, definitions, and stuff to cherry pick and fit a backwards ass narrative. Even with that, don't follow a rule when it can neither be explained, is far too vague to be explained, and holds no weight. Either you care or you don't. Because when I was growing up, I didn't see too many people caring whether my family was sick, whether we were homeless, anything like that. So it is rather sad indeed how the children became the adults in some cases. Because regardless of age, I see this type of mentality that's being promoted that is just very sickening. And the only thing I can really say on that is people know who they are. They know what they do. They don't need to be pointed out. All I'm saying is when the lights go out, they got to deal with them. And hopefully they've either learned enough skills or found a way to generate electricity, because they're going to need it. I say pay no heed nor no mind to it. And do what you got to do. And if more people did that, we'd be in a better place. Stay on your grind. Always look forward. Keep your head up. And progress. Because that's what it truly means to progress. You adapt. You don't give up everything from the old, but you also inform yourself and learn of new things. Technology has also come a long way, and it will continue to grow. In fact, they've been seeking to completely remove the human element completely from a lot of things. That was only inevitable. We don't advance or progress as fast as technology does, even culture. Things are always changing seemingly overnight. 5-10 years go by real quick, especially when you're not paying attention. And I'm thankful that despite all the mistakes, I paid enough attention to know when a situation was trouble or not going that well. And this is why I keep my guard up. Always. I strongly advise others do the same. Not saying adopt my way of dealing with it. My way is just my way. And this clip shows that transition and how very little of anything has actually changed other than the fact that I wish to live the remainder of my days seeking peace and doing what I want to do. So some stuff you gotta let go and just throw in the trash. It ain't helping you. Think about it. You can only control what happens in your own life. And if you don't like where you're at, go to a place where you can be yourself or like where you're at. You're in charge of your own happiness. And I strongly caution those listening to these influencers to think about that. Because they're not going to be with you or next to you if you mess up or ruin your life. So careful who you let whisper in your ear. Because if I had listened to my air quote peers and certain people growing up, even certain older people, I would have never gotten to where I am today. Which isn't a quantum leap, but it's damn sure better than where I could have ended up. Anyway, I'd like to thank everyone that's watched this video and say take care and peace.
Oh, David, my man, what's going on? Everything good?
I am, yeah.
What's up, June? You need something?
Yeah. Got this package here from Maine. Is Pilar here?
Ugh. Yo, bro, it's for you!
He's your brother.
Maine sent you something. Come get it.
Fucking finally! Wowza! The boys would kill for a pair of cyber hands like these!
So free! You need me to excuse you, or...?
Got anything else for me to do, or that it?
Bro, that it for today?
Yeah, fuck off! And Becca, tip him on his way out!
He's your air boy. Work it over yourself, cheap ass!
So is that everything? Do I clock out now?
Yeah, whatever. Looks that way to me.
Oh, Nova, I guess. That's a tip!
David, you're fucking adorable.
Huh?
See you soon, Dimples.
Feels so much better. Now let's see which are up for show and which are actually strummable. Can you feel it?
Who the fuck?
Keep playing.
All right.
Johnny?
Carrie?
No. No. That is some fucking joke. Hang on. What did Silverhand tell me before he died?
Told you to leave Samurai. Go your own way. Clearly I was right, as I often am.
Johnny fucking Silverhand. Fuck. I mean, how?
Surprise.
Motherfucker!
Okay, weren't expecting me. I get it.
Oh, fucking contraire. Been waiting 50 years to do that. She had changed a bit. Sporting a new style, trying to stay hip.
Yeah, kinda. What about you?
Shit. Johnny. Oh, man. I need a drink. All right. Come on. Tell me. Why do you look like a small-time klepto-punk from the afterlife?
This is V. You'd like him.
The fuck, Johnny? Doesn't explain a thing.
Nice place.
Ain't seen much of it yet. Moved in after the 4th album came out.
All sold well, apparently.
Fuck you, Johnny. Don't even start.
Who'd you sign with?
Shit. With Arasaka. Mornings, I record at their studio. Then evenings, Yori pops over for a little neighborly cookout.
And who'd you really sign with?
MSM Records.
Another pillar of society.
Come on. Sit down with me. Tell me where you've been all this time.
Live here all by your lonesome?
Nah, got my cook, Ariel, but he's off today. Miguel... What am I... Not your biz, June. Sit down. Start talking.
Steel yourself for a long story.
I just really want it to be tragic. Sad as all fuck over all those years.
'Cause if I hear you spent them with the Nomads, open road, wind in your hair,
or cool and relaxed in orbit, and now you've just popped by to shit all over my life, well, I'ma lose my damn mind.
Listen, judge for yourself.
Hey, you doing okay? I kind of know how you feel, Summer.
No, you don't. You're the little brother. You're not the cause of your parents' misery. You're just a symptom of it.
Can I show you something?
Morty, no offense, but a drawing of me you made when you were 8 isn't gonna make me feel like less of an accident.
That out there? That's my grave.
Wait, what?
On one of our adventures, Rick and I basically destroyed the whole world. So we bailed on that reality and we came to this one. Because in this one, the world wasn't destroyed. And in this one, we were dead. So we came here and we buried ourselves and we took their place. And every morning, Summer, I eat breakfast 20 yards away from my own rotting corpse.
So, you're not my brother?
I'm better than your brother. I'm a version of your brother you can trust when he says don't run. Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die. Come watch TV.